away from taking you to the arena. Jalen, who's going to win tonight?
Los Angeles Lakers on their home floor. The role players play a lot better, in particular the guard play. Russell, Schroeder, Reeves all play better.
One vote for L.A.
Lakers, we're going to see LeBron and Anthony Davis be much more aggressive. They're going to get to the foul line, both of them. Wait, that didn't happen in Game 2? It's going to happen in Game 3.
Clean sweep?
I'm picking the Warriors.
Ooh.
Just like I picked the Celtics yesterday, while y'all picked Philly, I'm going to pick the Warriors today. They're going to roll up to Tinseltown, Southern California. They're going to ruin all this noise, put the Lakers on their heels, and make the Lakers have to come out with their backs against the wall and their season on the line Monday night. Warriors. Steph Curry explodes. He only had 12 shots last game. He explodes today. Warriors beat the Los Angeles Lakers. Go up 2-1.
Game 2 was a Klay Thompson game. He had 8 threes. Let's see what the Splash Brothers have in store tonight. We will see you at halftime. Should be a terrific one tonight. Right across the street here in L.A., Mike Breen. Chime, Anthony Davis has been great on the defensive end in these playoffs. He's contested 138 total shots, by far the most of any player. Opponents have shot just 26% from the floor when Davis contests their field goal attempts. So he's got it done on the defensive end, as we've discussed at great length. It has been a matter of every other game on the offensive end for Anthony Davis. Simply put, Stephen A., is Anthony Davis the most important player in this series?
I believe he has become that. Obviously, when the Splash Brothers are clicking, nothing's going to offset that. But when you think about Anthony Davis, the one hope that the Lakers have of pulling that off is when he's on his A game offensively. Defensively, he's been there. And any criticism that I've articulated in his direction hasn't been about his defense. It's been about his offense. I mean, you're talking about a guy that goes from averaging 28 and 17 on 55% shooting in even-numbered games to the odd games where it drops to 13 and 10 on 40% shooting. That is just abysmal when you know what you're going up against and how vital you are. And the fact that the Golden State Warriors presumably have no answer for you because they simply don't have the size and the cachet on their front line to deal with you. To be that impotent offensively in those games speaks to a lack of focus, stamina, dedication, whatever you want to find. But he has to have that and for them to make noise in this series.
You guys were just having a fascinating conversation during our commercial break about what you want to see Anthony Davis do tonight.
I want to go retro. I want to see Anthony Davis go down on the low block as if this is what Jalen did by mentioning Moses. He got me in this mood. No, but seriously, go down when you're that small, when you're as small as the Warriors are. I'm going to send Anthony Davis down there, and I'm going to throw the ball into him 4 or 5 possessions out of the first 10 at the beginning of the game. First of all, maybe you get Draymond Green in foul trouble if he's going to be singled up. And if you double him quickly, and they have done that effectively, Anthony Davis is a willing and better than competent passer. He can find cutters. He can find shooters. Jalen, am I crazy for thinking I'd try this?
Not at all. Teams have been doing this since the beginning of the time. You got to feed your big guy. And once you do that, it activates the other parts of their game usually. Their rebounding, their shot blocking, their activity. And he has an advantage. He has the skill. He should have the will. Now, all of a sudden, when you're feeding him and featuring him, you give him a chance to get to the line, ease himself into the game, get a couple of buckets, maybe get a couple of fouls, and then all of a sudden, he's confident in what he's going to do tonight.
What do you think?
Well, listen, it's one thing to talk about what he can do and what he should do. I'm talking about what the hell he's done. And the fact that we sit here today literally with trepidation in our minds and hearts, wondering what on earth is going to happen. Is Anthony Davis going to show up? And do you realize with all of his superlatives, with a guy that's capable of walking around averaging 28 and 10 in his sleep, do you realize the only thing that Anthony Davis has going for him in this particular game is the fact that he was awful last game? So because of that, we assume he's going to show up this game. That is it. There is nothing else that tells us Anthony Davis is going to show up.
5 hours ago, we showed you LeBron James out on the floor getting ready for this one. So there's no question he's going to show up tonight. LeBron, critical Game 3. Winners of Game 3 of a 1-1 best-of-7 go on to win 73% of the time. So what's at stake tonight? Pretty much everything. We're back in a moment on ABC.
More than 5 free throws tonight, I see.
These two.
Cherry on top. That's it. Not everything is contentious. Newsflash. I mean, it is usually in sports and the discussions that we all have in our various lives and shows and all of that. It drives it. It fuels it. Sorry. And it's historic. It's cherry on top. They're both going down. And Stephen A. has raised something that he needs to get specific credit for this week with the conversation about Steph Curry. When he and I first started this a few days ago, I was like, pump the brakes. I'm going to make you pump the brakes on this. And it's been fun to talk about it. But even then, there's just a great degree of positivity. Nobody wants to deal with that. What cynicism? What? LeBron James is going to change his legacy? If he doesn't, I'm sorry. Was it going to change Tom Brady's if he hadn't won the last Super Bowl? No. And it's not going to change it. It can enhance Steph's maybe a little bit more than LeBron's, but enhances as far as...
By the way, I meant 6, not 8. Finals appearance.
Steph has been in 6 finals. But Tom Brady did enhance his legacy greatly by winning another one late
because it was a different team.
And it was without Bill Belichick.
Different coach in different circumstances, and things change. And here's Steph Curry all of a sudden making this push, Jalen, at this stage in his career. A year ago at this time, before he won last year's championship and before he won last year's finals MVP, I think there were some questions that don't exist anymore, and maybe he continues to find answers.
Agreed. But if the conversation becomes about ring counting, Tom Brady dropped the mic because he has the most rings also.
Right.
In basketball, that's a lot different because Bill Russell has the most rings, and then Kareem is right behind him, and Michael Jordan is right behind him. This enhances Steph Curry immensely. If he's able to get 5, like Stephen A. just said, and then you tie Magic, you tie Kobe, you tie Tim Duncan, now all of a sudden you're elevating yourself. LeBron James is already in the conversation for greatest player of all time, whether he wins or loses. So I think it enhances Steph Curry a lot more if he's able to win it this year.
And listen, have we just discounted the notion that this could also enhance the legacy of LeBron James? Stephen A. winning another championship in his career at the age of 38 and playing on the level that he is at this age, which is practically unprecedented in the history of the sport, winning his 5th championship, doing this one with the Lakers in a non-bubble, not to diminish that championship, but a different set of circumstances. This can't enhance LeBron's legacy?
In his 20th season, approaching age 39, if he were to win a 5th championship this season, I will never put LeBron James ahead of Michael Jordan. But what I will say is that the discussion as to whether or not that should be the case would no longer insult me. It no longer would insult me. I would be like, I understand where that comes from. He wins a 5th championship. It's not like it's just a cherry on top. Oh, no. It's more significant than that, Wilbon. If LeBron James wins a 5th title this year, it's a lot more than a cherry on top.
You know what, Stephen A., as we sit here today, in the middle of it, it seems like a lot more. As we get more removed, and to me, legacy is not something, people get crazy. Legacy is not current. It's not today. Every game now, every night, every sports center, somebody's talking about somebody's legacy. Stop. Legacy is something down the line. It is something you look back at. And when we look at Kareem and we look at Kobe, we look at Shaq, we look at contemporaries, look at people further back than that. Is it just ring counting? Jalen raises a great question. Is it just ring counting? Can we do something else?
No, but...
Can we look at the subtleties and the grays of their careers? I would hope so.
But where you're wrong, Mike Wilbon, is that long before you came along, there were people that talked about those all-time greats in a legacy conversation. You piggybacked off of that legacy conversation.
Yes.
It passes on. I'm just saying, you're right about the time, but it's always discussed in the moment.
And the reality is, seldom do we know we're seeing it right in front of our eyes.